Let's all rise in body or spirit and sing together, Gather the Spirit. Gather the Spirit, harvest the poor, our separate lives will kindle one flame, witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this life appear all the same, gathered in peace, gathered in thanks, gathered in sympathy now and then, gathered in hope, compassion, and strength, gathered to celebrate once again. Gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the stars, winter to spring and summer to fall, with body and spirit resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday service, to our sacred time of worship together. I'm Rosemary Dodd, and I serve this congregation as your ministerial intern. I'm joined today by Reverend Lucy Bunch and our worship associate, Kaley Calderon. Today's service is centered around poetry on the theme of home, and each of us will reflect on a poem of our choice. Whether you arrive today with joy in your heart or with grief, whether you are here in person or participating online, we are so glad you are here. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we welcome you. The mission of our congregation says, we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. Toward this end, we acknowledge that UUSS exists on the occupied ancestral homeland of the Nisenan, Southern Maidu, and Miwok peoples. Today, we wish to pay our respects to their ancestors, elders, and relatives, and to affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. If you're on Zoom, make sure to click on the link in the chat to view our order of service. There are so many ways to connect to our vibrant community. Each week, we have tables in the Welcome Hall where you can get connected and fill out a newcomer's form to receive our weekly email message. You can also do so online. Every week, the blue sheet, who has a blue sheet? Thank you. The blue sheet and the weekly message serve as a guide to our various programs. On Zoom, please stay after to chat in breakout rooms to get to know one another. Here in person, we'll have coffee, tea, and an opportunity to meet and greet one another right outside in our welcome hall. Today only, please stay after the service for our congregational meeting, which people are calling the event of the fall. You will hear updates from our leaders, a presentation of the nominees for our 2024 Community Partners, and the announcement of our Unsung Hero Award. All are welcome, and you really don't want to miss this. I'd like to invite Jennifer Webb up to the pulpit now to tell us about our upcoming auction. Oh, she's appropriately dressed. Yep.
Good morning, everybody. As she said, I'm Jennifer Webb, and I am the chair of an amazing committee that's putting together our auction and dinner just 13 days from now in this very space. That's November 4th at 5 o'clock. And as much as it's a wonderful community builder, after the pledge drive, this is UUSS's largest fundraiser. We hope to make around $40,000 from it. And so there are many ways that you can help make it a magical success. Number one, bid high and bid often. The silent auction is open online with over 100 items to choose from, including a winter wonderland birding outing, a Moroccan feast, tickets to the Sacramento Philharmonic, and a condo in Winter Park, Colorado. You can also support our magical wish list, items that include various essential supplies, operating expenses, and subscriptions like Zoom, as well as this year's $14,000 Fund a Need, which is going to be the installation of handicap-accessible doors into our building and also in and out of the patio. And this is so that we can make our space as welcoming as possible to all. Number two, come to the event. Our MC for the night will be the charismatic Dave Paul. He's waving over there. Props to Dave. And our live auctioneer will be the very inspirational Lisa Bunker. There she is, yep. And of course, Tiki Harlow and her team will be preparing their as usual, amazing and delectable dinner. John McMillan will host our very well-stocked bar. And we will enjoy some fabulous entertainment. There will also be a raffle for 25 themed baskets. Apparently people love to shop at these things. So all of this for $30 per person. Tickets are on sale and going fast. We only have about 30 left, and the deadline is this Wednesday. So as soon as you leave today, don't take your phones out now, go online and buy your ticket. There will be free childcare with pizza and a movie provided by our staff, but you must reserve a spot. And magical attire is encouraged. Number three, volunteer. Not counting all the time our dedicated committee has put into this event, we need over 200 person hours to pull this off. Number four, donate. We are still looking for a few more themed baskets for our night of raffle, and we are looking for beer and wine donations for the bar. So our contact email address, as well as the link to the auction site to purchase the tickets and bid often and high, can be found on the UUS homepage. And we will also be at a table on the patio during coffee hour and would be happy to sign you up for things, help you buy tickets, and answer any questions you have. Thank you.
I know you all are ready to get your phones out, to get on that auction website, but instead I'd like you to take a moment to silence your cell phones and watches so we can all be present for our worship time together. Come, let us worship.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be with all of you this morning. I also want to acknowledge our guest guitarist this morning, Harry Stoddard's here. He's going to share his music with us later on in the service. We're grateful for your gifts. Our chalice lighter this morning is Anara Gard, who also happens to be our board president. And here she comes. Oh, you're getting applause. And our chalice lighting words come from Eric Walker Wickstrom. We light this chalice for all who are here and all who are not, for all those who have ever walked through our doors, for those who have stayed and for those who have left, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for those we can't even yet imagine. For each of us and for all of us, may this flame burn warm and bright. Now I get to be Anthony. Oh, my thing on? Now it's on. Joseph's working on it. There we go. Kids. I see Annette back there. All of you kids and youth who are ready to go to religious education this morning. Do we have jig this morning? You don't? Yes, we do. Great. All right, soul kids and jig. All right, here we go. Here's my best Anthony impression. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't be afraid. We're all right here. There's lots of love in this great sphere. Ooh, pretty good, huh? You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. All right, you have to tell Anthony that I did a really good job.
Take a moment now to center yourself in whichever way works best for you. A deep breath, a stretch, a wiggle of your toes. Stillness is not more sacred than movement. In this gathered community, we take time to mark the start of each week, the movements of the seasons, and the significant moments of our own lives. This time is sacred because of the joining of our lives into a beloved community. And in our connections with one another, the divine reveals itself to us. Settle into this time, knowing that you are divine exactly as you are. Listen now for what your heartbeat is bringing to this community today. Today, I share some joys and sorrows from community members. Sybil shares that her dear friend Karen Evan passed away this week. We are sad to announce the death of longtime UUSS member Joy Vollmer, and we offer our condolences to her daughter, Lisa Whitmore. I'm happy to share that Marilyn Reynolds is receiving good care in a rehab facility and hopes to return home as soon as possible. If you would like to send her a get well greeting, you can send a card to her home address and it will be delivered to her. You can get her address from our office staff. With each heartbeat, we hold these joys and sorrows with us. We also hold those unvoiced and those held within each of us. Heavy on my heart this week has been violence and war. I want to offer this prayer, for which I could not find attribution online, but these words moved me deeply, and I hope they offer all of us some joint solace. Because I cannot carry your dead child, I sweep the deck of my friend and fling the dry pine needles to the messenger breeze. And the strike of my broom down the steps to the sea is the shovel for digging the grave, and the birdsong is the keening of your family and clinging companions. Instead of joining you to claw the rubble in search of your buried mother, I will bring bread to my neighbor, who will serve it to her children. And I chant your name in rhythm to the shouts and earth movers with the warm loaf in my hand and the autumn air gripping my chest. I will serve tea to this welcome company and offer a fragrant, poignant, and impotent wish for peace, as al-salam alaikum with each touch of the lips to silent lips, while you grip your phone for news and prepare to sleep on dark roads upon carpets that once had homes. Nothing in me can help you know if your daughter is alive or dead, or which of those is worse. So I will whisper, Bishalom, Bishalom, with each step up this mountain, from where my strength comes, and where my cries are left, and where the eagles loft and lift. You cannot bear witness to my sorrow for those I love whom I do not know. So I will ring the Japanese garden bell to reach all those unjustly taken away. I will listen to its resounding song, which ears hear for 10 slow breaths, but which trees hear forever. And I pledge to each of you who suffers now a place in its vibrating prayer. Will you please join me now in silence? stay seated and join me singing through twice, voice still and small. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dawn and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In door and rain, sorrow and pain, still you remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
Will you take a breath with me? It has been said that home is where the heart is. It's the place where you hang your hat. We say, my home is my castle. Home is not necessarily just a physical place, but a sentiment, a metaphor for deeper meaning. Home may be where you feel safe and accepted, where you feel comfortable and, well, at home. Your home may be a physical space, or it may not be the place where you keep your things. But no matter where or how it is the place where you can most easily be yourself. A home is necessary for physical and mental health. In fact, home is so necessary that we create it, even under difficult circumstances. For those who are without physical homes, who are unhoused or living in their cars, their physical possessions can become representations of home. I recently read an article in the New York Times that profiled several families living in their cars, several among the thousands of families living in their cars. And I noticed that they had some personal items that seemed inessential. Maybe you didn't need that little gewgaw from your house. But then I realized that these were reminders of a home, or perhaps even helped create a home in their vehicle. People living on the streets create a safety of home as well, as they keep their possessions close, creating a sense of safety, even with something as fragile as a tent or a blanket over their heads as they sleep on the sidewalk. This is why the street sweeps of homeless people are so tragic, because the police take away all their carefully protected possessions. They take away their remaining semblance of home. A home is necessary for our well-being, but brick and mortar are not enough to create the comfort of home. For refugees, they may be safe in the new country, but they are not yet home in the larger sense. The culture that they leave behind, the familiar foods, smells, rituals, community connections,
They cannot be recreated overnight. It takes a letting go. It takes a building up and finding that blend of the familiar and the new. But they do it. The number of Syrian and Afghan businesses and restaurants in Arden Arcade is a testimony to their courage and determination. Let us not underestimate the importance of home for our minds, bodies, and spirits. And let us be grateful for the homes that we do have. And be grateful to all of those who have contributed to making a home where we feel safe and loved. So today we will celebrate home through poetry and reflection. There are probably hundreds, maybe thousands of poems about home. And today, each of us, myself, Rosemary, and Kaley, have chosen one of them. We will share this poem with you and then offer a reflection. And then the poem will be repeated so that you can have a deeper sense of connection with the words of the poet. Let us begin.
This poem is titled A Rainy Sunday by Ruby Archer. I love a rainy Sunday, with all the world away, the cozy hearth intensified by gloom of outer day. In silken gown fantastic, I let my hair go free and idle in and out of books or weave a melody. The rain beyond the window chants on in monotone. I muse among my household gods and laugh to be alone. The family is drowsy, the very cat asleep, and naught comes nigh my reverie, growing in silence deep. My books are dear companions, my pictures well-loved friends, my brown divan with orient grace, a dreamy languor lens. Come often, rainy Sundays, forbidding me to roam. Come often, shut the world without, and me within my home. For me, this poem brings up memories and feelings of when I'm able to get lost in my own little world and really enjoy my time to rest and recharge. I like how the poem contrasts the outside world versus inside her home. That outside it's gloomy and the rain is monotone. It reinforces the idea that home is security and a safe place from outside stressors. When I read this poem, it reminds me of that overwhelmingly grateful feeling I get when plans are canceled that I was just dreading to go to. Those days and this poem are good reminders to be grateful for the security and comfort home brings, that you can lock your doors and put responsibilities on pause for a bit. I love the images this poem paints, in her silken gown fantastic and letting her hair go free, surrounded by her belongings that bring her joy and fond memories. Being able to relax and spend the day getting lost in her own creativity, in books, music, and memories. Those kinds of days are my favorite, and when I feel my strongest sense of belonging, when I'm able to relax into my daydreams while having all my creature comforts grounding me at the same time. The outside world feels a great distance away, and my mind can truly relax and explore. After these types of days, I come back to the outside world so refreshed and inspired, I feel like I can handle anything. Being surrounded by comfort and familiarity while letting your mind travel and reflect is a nourishing experience. She also talks about how she's spending the day mainly by herself, but her family is there too. She's able to spend time in her own company and laugh with herself. Spending time alone can be so healing, being able to listen to your needs and get in touch with yourself. And she is also surrounded by loved ones. It sounds like her family are all in their own little worlds as well, even the cat. Being able to enjoy your own company but also have your family there with you. I cherish that feeling of just simply existing with people you love, not needing to entertain or provide, but just belonging with them and around them. For me, home means security, comfort, rest, and belonging. This poem is able to draw those feelings out in me and remind me of how grateful I am for those days when I'm able to really appreciate and see my home and surroundings as the gifts they are.
A Rainy Sunday by Ruby Archer. I love a rainy Sunday. With all the world away, the cozy hearth intensified by gloom of outer day, in silken gown fantastic, I let my hair go free and idle in and out of books or weave a melody. The rain beyond the window chants on in monotone. I muse among my household gods and laugh to be alone. The family is drowsy, the very cat asleep. A knot comes nigh my reverie, growing in silence deep. My books are dear companions, my pictures, well-loved friends, my brown divan with orient grace, a dreamy languor lends. Come often, rainy Sundays, forbidding me to roam. Come often, shut the world without, and me within my home.
This poem is called Sacramento by Sally Worthing. For a time I roamed, homesick for the sea. Smug, I did not expect to love this place, this solid land place, this river and tree place, this Sunday picnic and baseball kind of place. Real summers here, shiny wet streets after a rain, the communion of land and sky uninterrupted, all round. Gentle curve of dark earth, a sapphire wink through trees, hints at the glory if you come on through. Cold blue river moving wide, like a diamond brooch on a plain and sturdy woman. It sparkles real good. Spilled tomatoes and peppers line the roads like so many old Christmas lights come late summer. Bold crows hop and dart recklessly along the highways of home. I grew up in Hayward, California, on the east side of the San Francisco Bay, not far from the mudflats that used to line the bay on that side. Maybe they still do. A suburban neighborhood, a small suburban neighborhood, bordered by apricot trees and tomato fields all around, except for the mall right across the street. I left to go to college when I was 18, and I never looked back. When I reflect on my 20s, I realized I lived in 9 different cities in 12 years. That doesn't count the number of places I lived in each city. School, work, relationships, all these things had me moving in various places around the country. And then in my very late 20s, a series of, shall we say, unfortunate events landed me back in my parents' house in Hayward. Gathering my wits about me, figuring out what to do next, I saw this tiny little ad in the San Francisco Chronicle. Remember Help Wanted ads? Tiny little ad. And it looked like exactly the kind of work that I used to do on the East Coast, right here in California. And so I reached out and I applied. It was in Sacramento. Ugh. My visualization of this exotic life in the Bay Area, young professional, Sacramento, ugh. Needless to say, I did not have a good feel for Sacramento. It was hot. It was boring. There's no there. It's the place you stopped when you were on the way to somewhere else. But it was a job in my field, which was rare. So I came and I made the best of it. I never intended to put down roots here. Not for a minute. But, you know, I was 30. I didn't even think about roots or putting down roots. So after 2 years here working in Sacramento, I got a job at UC Davis. And people said to me, "Oh, are you going to move to Davis?" And I said, "No, Sacramento's my home." Who said that? Somehow that had happened despite no intention on my part. As the poet said, smug, I did not expect to love this place, this solid land place, this river and tree place, shiny wet streets after a rain, the communion of land and sky all round, gentle curve of dark earth, a sapphire wink through trees, hints at the glory if you come on through. Sacramento, unpretentious, unglamorous, grounded, genuine, quietly invited me to come on through to home. The rivers, the trees, the community. I found my calling here, my church, my spouse, my musical community. I came for a job, a tiny little ad in the Chronicle, and I ended up with a fulfilling life, a rooted life. It's been 35 years now that I have called Sacramento home. The poem I chose to reflect on this morning was written by Sally Worthing, a Sacramento artist. My choral group, the Sacramento Master Singers, chose this piece to be set to music, and it was performed at one of our concerts several years ago. I love how she makes the ordinary feel sacred. Spilled tomatoes and peppers line the roads like so many old Christmas lights come late summer. Bold crows hop and dart recklessly along the highways of home. Thank you, Sacramento, for seducing me with your quiet charm, for sharing your gifts so freely, for letting me put down roots here, embracing me, and leading me to a fulfilling life. May it be so for all.
For a time, I roamed, homesick for the sea, smug. I did not expect to love this place, this solid land place, this river and tree place, this Sunday picnic and baseball kind of place. Real summers here. Shiny, wet streets after a rain, the communion of land and sky uninterrupted all round. Gentle curve of dark earth, a sapphire wink through the trees hints at glory, if you come on through. Cold blue river moving wide, like a diamond brooch on a plain and sturdy woman. It sparkles real good. Spilled tomatoes and peppers line the roads, like so many old Christmas lights come late summer. Bold crows hop and dart recklessly along the highways of home.
Generosity is a spiritual practice. As a congregation, we cultivate this practice by giving away half of our offering donations from every service. We have 12 community partner organizations every year. Starting tomorrow, members of the congregation will be able to vote online for our community partners for 2024. Find out more at the congregational meeting after the service today. For the month of October, our community partner is the Native American Health Center. It is committed to enhancing quality of life by providing a culturally competent, holistic, and patient-centered continuum of care. There are no tribal or ethnic requirements to receive care at the center, which plays a major role as part of the safety net in the Sacramento area, where Medi-Cal benefits leave many people with little or no access to mainstream health care. You can learn more at the center's website. Please give generously to support this important program. Thank you for your support to UUSS and our community partner. Our morning offering will now be given and received. As our ushers bring up our offerings, please join me in reciting the unison response to the offering. May generosity bless our world. May gratitude nourish our spirits. This poem is titled Fall Song by Joy Harjo. It is a dark fall day. The earth is slightly damp with rain. I hear a jay. The cry is blue. I have found you in the story again. Is there another word for divine? I need a song that will keep sky open in my mind. If I think behind me, I might break. If I think forward, I lose now. Forever will be a day like this, strung perfectly on the necklace of days. Slightly overcast, yellow leaves, your jacket hanging in the hallway next to mine.
I used to think I was a particularly independent type of person. In high school, I went abroad on an exchange program one summer to South America. I traveled regularly on weekends away from my family, and I generally just stayed very, very busy. Adults always told me that I was impressive for my age, and so I took that seriously. This was an important characteristic. And so I applied to college far away, as far as I could go. I grew up in Sonoma County, and I, for some reason, applied to colleges mostly on the East Coast. And I went away to college when I was 17. And I loved college. I loved the place I was in. It was a beautiful campus. There were engaging classes. There were brilliant classmates who all filled out my vision for a life well lived. And a next step on this ladder toward being continually impressive. Whatever that meant. I wasn't sure. But ultimately, I was 3,000 miles away from California, the only place I had ever remembered living, from the rolling hills of Sonoma County and the rocky beaches of the Sonoma coast. In Massachusetts, there were no redwoods towering around me. There weren't even a lot of people wearing Birkenstocks. There wasn't a lot of tie-dye. I was suddenly exposed to people who were preppy. It was very confusing. It was as if my world had tilted a little bit on its axis, and suddenly I had launched away from my comfort zone without even realizing that I had one. And so our Unitarian Universalist campus ministry group, yes, we had one, was a lifeline for me. It was, yes, a connection to my faith and the routine of being in a faith community, but really it was a connection to the tender part of me that didn't care very much about being impressive, the part of me that was scared and 17 and 3,000 miles away from home. It was there that I was asked, "How are you, really?" every week as our check-in question. And I found the courage to answer honestly. It was there that I cried. I'm a crier, so I cried regularly. And I soon found out that I wasn't the only person to experience culture shock and homesickness on our campus. Not by a long shot. It was there that we went on nature walks around campus in contemplative silence, punctuated by giggling, and we looked up at the majesty of the trees in autumn, and I felt my first jolt of feeling at home in the new place, a day a lot like today. It was there that I allowed myself to say that, yes, I miss my home and my family desperately, and I allowed myself to break just a little bit. I allowed myself into the now. What I think Joy Harjo's poem is about is finding the balance of now, feeling at home in the moment and sharing the precariousness of our emotions in the moment with one another. And so I allowed myself for the first time in college into the now in that group, and allowed a day to be strung on the necklace of that part of my life. I had been looking forward, I had been looking back. I found the now. I had found time, finally, to listen to the parts of me that were having a really, really hard time, and to ask myself, what is it that I need to make this place feel like home? That's a skill set I've leaned on every year since then. And so October is the most nostalgic month for me, the time I crave home and connection to my loved ones the most. I think back on those first few months in college often, when I learned how to create a new home for the first time, how to connect and reach out and plant new roots. I've done so a lot since then, as I've moved back and forth across the country for jobs and school and jobs. But home for me has become the comfort of connection, a relationship, a place where I can be vulnerable and imperfect, and where I know that I will be held. Home has become a description of the web of people who make up my life, who draw my story with me and allow me to pause, to string another bead onto the necklace of forever. Home is the jacket hanging next to mine in the hallway, those who walk alongside me on my winding path, who sit down for dinner or a phone call with me and ask me, "How are you? Really?"
Fall Song by Joy Harjo. It is a dark fall day. The earth is slightly damp with rain. I hear a jay. The cry is blue. I have found you in this story again. Is there another word for divine? I need a song that will keep sky open in my mind. If I think behind me, I might break. If I think forward, I lose now. Forever will be a day like this, strung perfectly on the necklace of days. Slightly overcast, yellow leaves, your jacket hanging in the hallway next to mine. Let us sing together of another home, our beautiful earth home. We'll rise together and sing for the earth forever turning. You want to do the chalice distinguishing words? Okay.
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, please join me in speaking our shared intention. We extinguish this flame, but we carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
Come here with me. Let's raise our arms.
Yeah.
Let's raise our arms and connect. Let us go forth bringing home in our hearts. Let us take it with us as we go into life. Let us remember those who have no home and do our part to make it possible that everyone feels safe, everyone feels love, and everyone has a place where they can be exactly who they are. Blessed be.